It is the Pat and Jared Show. We got to come up with a name for that. We'll call it the Pat and Jared Show still, but we got to kind of come up with a fun name. We'll figure it out. Maybe if we have 3 or 4 subscribers comment what they think would be a good name, that would be cool. We're also looking for more guests. My mom doesn't want to go on again until someone else comes. Mr. Ahern, I'm talking to you. So
offline, I got some ideas, dude. Offline, I'll tell you, I got some ideas.
All right, we'll get it going. But today, it is July 14th, a beautiful Bastille Day. Let them eat cake. F you, Marie Antoinette. We don't want your cake.
Vive la France!
Vive France! Take the
Vive la liberté!
The tennis court oath. We're storming the Bastille. What's it called? So I obviously like Bastille Day. I got a little bit of French in me, but on another note, I got offered a job today. Kind of crazy. I don't even know if I applied to it, but I got it. It's Eastern University, Esperanza College. So it is a Christian university, which I'm completely cool with. I definitely promote religion. I don't think religion's a bad thing at all. I think it's overall a good thing. I think when it's taken to an extreme, it becomes bad. And unfortunately, a lot of people take it to an extreme, unfortunately. But what I want to talk about, since you are the politician, something that actually pisses me off, and I don't really understand it at all. Like, it seems like it's obvious that it shouldn't be, but it just is. Why are churches, synagogues, any religious place, why don't they pay taxes? It's bullshit. It makes no sense to me. You have, I mean, the guy, I hate to pick on him, but he's like just someone I know. He's famous or whatever, Osmond or whatever. I don't even really know him, but the guy Osmond in Texas, I think he is. He has like a mega church. He's worth like $50 million. Isn't that not Christian-like for his example, but like, or not religious-like? Like religion isn't about greed or taking. It's about like sharing, community, being like positive. I don't get why that rule exists, especially when like the country doesn't seem to be in the greatest place financially. Like, hey, maybe we could use more tax revenue from churches or synagogues or whatever. What do you think about that? Why is that? Do you have any insights on it? Maybe you know better than me. What do you think?
So there's modern reasons for it, but honestly, you know, brass tacks, man, we were settled by Anglo-Saxon cultural organizations and individuals. And so there is a centuries old tradition in Anglo-Saxon culture where the church was always exempt from taxes. And that was simply for political and power dynamic reasons.
That's in England, I'm guessing, or?
Yeah. So you know, before William the Conqueror, before, you know, the mixing of French and Brit, you know, it's like there's a lot of that tie up in there. The Anglo-Saxons, the Angles, the Jutes, and the Saxons conquered England from the old Britons, and from that point on, there was the Christianization, you know, of the island, and churches were exempt. And so the church slowly built up financial resources. The modern Catholic Church has the largest real estate portfolio on the planet.
It's crazy.
And so if you just want a brief history lesson, that's really the reason why, because we are an Anglo-Saxon nation as far as the way our courts operate, our law system.
That's my question, though, because like I didn't know that. I appreciate that insight. That was definitely not informative. I learned something new every day, so that's great.
Yeah.
But I feel like when we started this country, didn't they say separation of church and state?
Absolutely, but then look at our money. And God we trust. In courts we swear on a Bible.
Why do we just look past that? That's what I don't get. We say separation of church and state, but we don't separate it. It doesn't add up.
Because all right. So this is tough, right, for me, because I think religion has a role to play and all that stuff, but as an atheist, this is still very much a religious world that we live in. Yeah. And religious institutions play a major role. Now, a lot of religious institutions will respond very vehemently and strongly and say a big reason why we should remain tax exempt is because of how much we do for good. charitable, enterprises, how much they give back to the communities. But let's face it, the real reason is that this is how it's always been done by our, the people that settled this country and the way we set things up. And inertia, when it comes to the way a society does things, is incredibly powerful. And now, in modern days, can you imagine a politician campaigning on that while running for office?
Some campaign with talking about God, like not campaigning on that specifically, but they definitely make sure God is important in their
that's what I mean. They God's important, right?
Right.
I mean, can you even really like fathom? I'm not talking about like locally and like maybe a liberal like small a district, a congressional district or something like that, or maybe a state house race in like California or something where it's liberal. But I mean like a national figure who runs on the fact that they like don't believe in God.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Yeah. Well, I guess that would be crazy. I wasn't even thinking that. That would be really nuts. But what I got 2 questions for you. Do you think it'll ever change? Because I think like more and more people are kind of like seeing past how ridiculous religion can be. But like you said, inertia, we've just been going for so long, it'd probably take something big to stop it. So that's one of my questions. And the other question I kind of have, you can answer either of them, both of them, or you could ignore them, talk about whatever you want to talk about, really. But what is a religion also? What really defines it? Because for me, I like finding loopholes. I like what's the word, like kind of trying to shine light on loopholes. I don't know what the reason is, if it's to try and get them fixed or whatever, but I kind of want to just start my own religion just to get tax exempt, because I don't really understand why people are tax exempt because they have a church and they say, oh, we do good. I think I do good every day. My money would go way better if I was donating it to whoever I think needed it more than giving it to the government.
So Johnny Oliver, freaking love his show. Last week tonight, little plug for that show. I don't mind doing it.
Maybe we'll get him on the show one day.
I hope so, John. Come on.
Come on, John.
He did a great. He has done great segments, multiple of them, to demonstrate the ease with which you can start an organization and become tax exempt simply by claiming that you are a religion. He's already demonstrated that because he delved into that world and how crazy it is that there are some organized religions out there. And I say it in quotes. And you know what? I should knock my own self in the head, because oftentimes you see even religious people, ragging on Scientology or Mormons or cults and stuff. But let's face it, all religion is the formal organization of some type of spiritual, belief system. That's all religion is.
This is going to come across. It's an accepted cult.
This is going to come across as, negative. And so I'm going to try and be as politic as possible, because I really don't want to put down people that are spiritual or that practice a religion. But religion is just a form of spiritual control. Is like such a tough word, but that's really what it is. It's just supposed to set about guidelines on how to worship a certain deity. That's all it is. Okay. And so you start to get into the political realm super quickly when you form a religion. And so that's why religion and the state are so tied up together, especially the dominant ones, which is Judeo-Christianity. And because the overwhelming majority of people that settled this country, that they believe they were people of the book, so to speak. Muslims would technically be a part of that, because whether you're talking about the Quran or the Torah, the Talmud, or the Bible, which is of course a combination of the Jewish scriptures with the New Testament, are that the people of the book still run the way we do things, in this country. And so that really ties into the tax exemptness, that nowadays there's social inertia. No one really thinks about it too much. But I think the point you're trying to make is My wife and I walk past the church up on the corner at 5th and Girard
yeah.
all the time. St. Paul's. Okay. So,
Yep. You know how
St.
much
Paul
that would
neighborhood.
be in taxes a year that they're probably not paying? Probably over $200,000, maybe.
So everybody hates taxes, right? Too. So it's a tough sell to the public to like kind of include more people in taxes and stuff. Let me put it in a more simplistic way. There are people that are hungry in this city. There are people that need shelter, that could use clothes. Maybe strong weather events are going to start to be experienced more and more in this part of the country. I walk past this church and it's essentially a giant castle. And besides weekends, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot that's going on in this building.
Dude, there's nothing. I park there all the time when I come see you because there's an empty parking lot.
And to put it even more to a point, there are people sleeping on the street right outside of it.
On the steps. I've seen them on the steps.
On the steps.
Yep.
And my wife and I often think to myself, it's a temporary fix. We already talked about housing and how there's more sustainable approaches to housing. But I often think to myself, why are there not more proactive ways that organized religion can utilize and harness their resources to help people in a more like day-to-day way? And oh man, that's going to get me in such hot water. I feel like not necessarily now, but maybe later in life. Not that anyone's necessarily watch this,
dude.
But you know
people are
going to
watch this eventually. You know,
they're going to watch this eventually,
especially
and
this
eventually
episode.
Get me into trouble, and they're going to say, "Look what you just said, criticizing our religion." But like, people, let's come on.
I'm not criticizing I'm not criticizing religion. I'm criticizing kind of I don't know exactly
I'm organizing the officials that run it. I'm criticizing. Yeah, I'm gonna call you out. The guys that are running around in their fancy dresses and they've got the gold hanging from their neck and you got there's chalices and there's all these beautiful art. There's all this
extravagant.
Stuff.
It's so extravagant and luxurious.
Are you telling me that the prophets that all of you built your religions around, walking around in deserts and and sacrificing and living humble lives and breaking bread? Are you gonna? That was very Christian heavy there.
No, I like that. I like it.
Analogies, but you know what I mean. You're telling me that those guys are gonna, if they pop into the future, are gonna look around and be like, "This is a satisfactory use of our power,
right,
and resources." No, they're not. Especially since all major religions claim that they are based on love and charity to your fellow man. I'm sorry, but that big freaking castle is not being used in a way that is commiserate with the pain and suffering that are occurring around it.
Exactly. So, I agree completely. It just doesn't seem aligned at all. It's like for someone or something that stands for so much good to not be seeing it every day that good is just a little bit confusing. I know the church does a lot of good. Like they have great programs, they help feed a lot of people, but at the same time I feel like they could do more. And I feel like since I don't see them doing more, I would like to see them taxed. I actually don't even care if they could get the lowest tax rate, half the tax that everyone else pays, but I just feel like to follow separation of church and state, which is what we say we are, we should at least like tax them a little bit. I don't know, maybe hold them accountable. I feel like there's enough businesses that know how to take advantage of taxes by spending and whatever, where maybe that would just make churches have to maneuver their money a little bit and pretend like they're investing it here and there to be tax exempt anyway. Because like Amazon doesn't pay taxes. So even if you are taxed because you're not a religion or a church, whatever, you probably still can get away with not paying taxes, but at least we would get them to stimulate the economy a little or move the money around instead of just holding huge bank accounts for
join society.
Yeah.
Just do what all the rest of us are already doing. We can talk about a government way, but that's a whole nother thing. That doesn't preclude you from participating in what all the rest of us are expected to do.
Right.
I honestly, we are, an individual gets tax breaks for charitable giving. We're not saying that we're going to like try and prevent you from being charitable. And by the way, it's part of your mission. So you're telling me that if you pay taxes just like everybody else does, that is somehow going to cut into your mission.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The Pope was coming to town, and that church up on the corner magically found the resources, the time, the wherewithal, and the money to build a beautiful community center.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I barely see it being used.
Yeah,
barely.
It's all optics. It's crazy.
It's all optics. And so like, come on, religion, get in the game. Get in the game. There is hunger and suffering and pain like happening all around you. If you really believe in love and helping out your fellow man, that I am my brother's keeper, that I am my sister's keeper, then get in the game. All right. Come out and say, you know what? I want to be taxed. Give politicians
that would be awesome.
cover
to do it without even being forced. Cover. I would love that. But I think I actually have to head to church. I got an appointment with God at 5:30. So I will talk to you next week. I can't wait. These conversations fly by. I have so much fun with them. Please, if you're listening, like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know you want to be on the show. We're going to have more guests soon. We're going to be spicing things up. Things are rolling. Having a good time. Peace out. Love you.